had a lot of wrongs, got you screaming through the phone. I would rather you moan, baby. I can hear it in your tone. It's a lot that's going on, but I know that we grown, baby. We grown, baby. Probably time at the time, apologize. You say that you alone, baby. But you know that every time, if you ask me, I'ma ride. I just tell you for sure, baby. Yeah, for sure, baby.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jason Scott.
And we are back with another episode of the ScottsLand Love podcast. Hope all of you are doing well out there. It's a nice day today.
Episode 11, season 2.
I think you like doing it like that, saying all that.
I like it.
Pumping it up a little bit, hyping it up.
Yep.
But anyway, so we're back and hope everything is going well. You guys had a great week or enjoying the week. I was thinking to myself, I was like, it's getting nice outside. Well, not nice, but the sun is starting to bloom a little bit more. And now we are looking forward to the spring. So it's going to be a lot more activity happening. I feel like when it's cold outside, everybody like pretty much hibernates. But then when the warm weather comes, like you start to see everybody, like if you live on a block, you may not have seen a neighbor up the street all winter long, but as soon as the sun start peeking out, you might see them on their porch, or it just brings a different type of vibe. So I'm really looking forward to it.
And then, spring. most people I know, they like the spring and they like the summer. So, they like to kind of get out and do things. I kind of like both, I don't have a favorite, I like the winter. I'm a winter baby, so kind of like the winter as well, to cuddle and do things like that, Obviously in our previous episode, we talked about our love languages. So I like quality time. So
yes,
so that's something.
And personal touch.
And
Is it personal touch?
Yeah, personal touch or physical touch.
Physical touch. I'm like, wait a minute. I think I got that wrong. Physical touch.
Physical touch. So for this episode, we wanted to, it's kind of long overdue. We wanted to kind of talk about finances and kind of get that across as far as finances is concerned within a relationship, or, if you had a couple or whatever the case may be. Within your situation, we wanted to talk about finances. For me, I got like 4 different points I want to kind of get across to the listeners, so you can understand about certain finances, and then we'll have sort of like a candid, open discussion about our finances, how we do things, and different things of that nature. But I think this is an important episode to kind of help people within their relationships to kind of get their finances in order and structure that that part of their life a little better, because I know it's important. It's really important. I mean, I think the number one cause of divorce is due to finance. So if you're married, that could be, a daunting task to, trying to face when you're going into a marriage, to know that, that's the cause of divorce. So we don't want that.
I think financial instability might be a higher percentage than infidelity, but I'm not. I think they may both be like up there, like top 2. But I was going to make the point about like what you're saying with spending and everything. I was thinking about when the seasons change and that warm weather, for me, it does make me feel like I need to spend some more money, do something like outside, or you just be like, oh, I'm just in a great mood, it's time to go shopping or do something because it's warm outside. So it just brings you out a little bit more when it's warmer, because you feel like there's more things to do, but with that is more money to spend. So
and not only going out and shopping, you got trips you want to go to,
vacations,
go to the beach, you got to spend money, of course the kids, they want cotton candy and funnel cakes and stuff of that nature, so you got to do a lot of spending, especially we got 3 kids, so I mean,
one is about to be a grown adult,
so you can kind of understand and see that our situation dealing with a 5-family household, how we got to do things as far as trying to get our finances in order, so everybody can kind of be happy within the household.
Right.
But the first point I want to kind of let y'all know about finances is it's a simple point. It's basically just we together. Like when you think about finances, a lot of people get into the situation and think like, this is my money, this is her money, so they kind of bickering back and forth on who money is whose money. But when you become married, I mean, a lot of couples that's not married, then maybe you need to kind of look at it in this context. You want to kind of treat it as you are a team. You and your spouse are a team. So you got to understand going in that y'all in this together. If you think about a sports analogy, is that y'all all on the same team. I mean, one of y'all can be sort of like the coach, but you got to understand that we're on the same team and we in this together. So if she get a certain salary and I get a certain salary, we got to just combine that salary together and kind of do things within a one, because we become one when we become married. So on that point, I just want y'all to understand that you got to work together and y'all one. It's not what's hers is hers, and what's mine is mine. Is what's mine is hers, and what's hers is mine.
Yeah, and I just want to actually put this disclaimer out there. We are not financial experts, all right? So I just want to put that out there. This episode is more so, like Jason said, some people, somebody out there might need to hear this, but this is more of our experience dealing with finances and how we perceive it to be for a married couple. So we're not here to make it seem like we have it all together, and I'm sure that you guys are not thinking that. But I just like to put it out there because we're not giving advice. We're just giving insight into what we feel and what we have experienced. So to Jason's first point, yes, we are married, and going into it, you got to know you got to set the expectations in terms of how you're going to deal with the finances, because you are together. It's a union at that point. Now, I want to go back to the fact that we talked about this before. We kind of touched on it lightly, but it kind of brings it to this point. When Jason and I first got married, we did have to pretty much set that expectation as to how we're going to deal with the finances, because he had his set of debt, I had my set of debt, right? And at the time, I feel, and you probably will agree with this, I was in a better situation financially to help him get to a point where we might feel like, okay, now we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, because we had to get up to, now let me backtrack. When we were young, not everybody, but I feel for most of us, we have made some very careless mistakes. Right. And we may not have always taken financial literacy, like made it a serious topic of a conversation, or maybe you just didn't know. So, but when you know better, you do better. So some of the things that we had inherited over the course of our young adult life came into the marriage. Okay. So if you was behind on bills, you're going to be behind on bills when you get married. Ain't nothing going to change just because you married somebody. They're going to incur that debt, especially if it's going to impact the household. Yeah. So we had to actually work together to figure out how we were going to get ourselves out of this predicament or this situation in order to go forward in our marriage and have a financial union where we both can pretty much set expectations in how to deal with the finances. Right.
I mean, because it's about communication. I mean, you got to talk amongst your spouse, especially early on in our marriage. It was good for us to kind of sit down and talk about things, because a lot of people, they get into a rut where they don't kind of communicate these things, and they think this thing's just going to fall into place. But no, you got to sit down and talk about it, and then make it something, a priority for you to make things right. But also going back to her disclaimer, we not financial experts, and a lot of people look at me because I've been in finance for a long time and doing things with the finance. They think I'm an accountant and all that type of stuff, but I'm not a CPA. I don't necessarily do taxes, but I can do taxes. But So just letting people know that, you don't have to necessarily go by everything we say. We just kind of, giving our opinion and what we think is beneficial for a relationship. So for my second point, another simple point that I think a lot of people should kind of take notice is education. So there's a lot of information out there on on YouTube, Google, and different type of platforms which you can kind of search and get your own education. But I think it's important for you and your mate to kind of get an understanding of what finances is about, as far as your personal finances. And some couples may have businesses within their household, so you gotta manage those as well. So that point is kind of just having that knowledge of what kind of steps that I can take. So it's always good to kind of go take courses, or go take go to some seminars with financial relationship help. Even a lot of church functions have different type of marriage retreats where they talk about finances among couples. So those type of things are beneficial early on, or even if you want to start working on your finances with your spouse or your mate. Those type of things, you have to educate yourself. You want to lay out a plan, or get some knowledge on what kind of steps you can take, or what can lead you down a certain path to help your relationship. So just having some education, like we went to a few classes, whether it was in the church or just kind of reviewing things online, or reviewing other couples, just understanding what we can do to kind of get our finances in order. So I think education is important.
No, it is. Knowledge is power. And I think that's how because you made a point about being in finance and stuff. And I think having a career in finance have helped you to become more wiser in terms of, or in tune in terms of what resources are out there to pretty much help us get on track of where we need to be. For me, I do think that I have, over the course of some time, I had went online, I searched different things about credit cards and saving and different things, until this year, or not this year, but until recent years, I would say. The topic of conversation with Jason has been more so investments and real estate and different things that he feels will be beneficial for long-term growth. But I feel like you have to pretty much tackle the indifferences in the present before you can if we're struggling, as a couple, if we're struggling in the present, it's sometimes hard to kind of focus on the future. It's just all right, well, we behind on bills. How are we going to, I don't want to do no investment. We got to put our money into paying a mortgage, or we need to pay the car, or whatever the case may be. So that's why it's important for us to have a conversation, set our expectations together in terms of how we need to go about doing what we need to do to make things work. Right. And that is educating ourselves on resources or ways and how to get ourselves out of debt, or certain, moves that we need to make in order to make things work in terms of financial stability. Yeah,
because it's important for you to educate yourself, because in a relationship, sometimes you want to know who going to do what within the finances. Cause I bring in a certain income, she bring in a certain income. So who's going to take the lead on paying the bills? Who's going to take the lead on, buying certain things for the kids within the household? Who's going to take the lead on certain things? So you got to know who going to do these roles, who going to fulfill these roles within your finances. So you can know, when you creating some sort of budget, how when you're going to subtract or add certain things within that spreadsheet that you create for yourself. So that's why you want to educate yourself, so you can get some tools in line when when you ready to sit down and do these things. So
and the point I was going to mention about, you mentioned something about who makes the most money, or you said something to that effect. you can't allow the salary differences to come in between the common goal.
Yeah,
so,
I go back to as a team. So whatever she make is what you make. It's all together.
Right.
It's all together. It ain't like, you know,
but sometimes, but no, let's talk about that, because sometimes it can impact the ego a little bit if your wife may be the breadwinner, or if your husband is like for Jason and I, and we're just going off just being transparent. I think we both were like chasing each other, and then I kind of like got a little above him, and then he was like, right. So we kind of like, okay, you know, it's like we're not looking at it as a competition, because it's all going to one, you know, we're a family in our household, and we're going to work towards making the money no matter what. We're always going to set that goal to advance and try to maximize the financial benefit. But at the same time, he's not intimidated by me because I may make more than him, or vice versa. He can still lead, you know, like even if I'm making more money, I feel like if his financial insight, if he's wiser at spending and wiser at how to go about with the finances, then I'm going to listen and say, okay, all right, maybe, you know, you should, you know, guide us in the direction. If things aren't going the right way, we need to figure out how we need to do things better. Then I'm willing to listen. Just because I may make more money than him, that doesn't mean that I can't allow him to lead as the man of the house. I can't make him still feel like he's the man of the house because I may be the breadwinner.
Yeah, and if you kind of put aside, you know, your ego in that situation as far as who make more, it can really be, and I look at it this way, it can really be a motivational aspect within your relationship. So, I mean, if you just look and see, like, you know, what's hers is mine and what's mine is hers, you can look at it as just motivation. She's motivating me if she's make more than me to really, you know, put my foot down and do more to kind of bring in more. So that's only a benefit to the family if you motivated by, you know, her success, you know what I mean, and vice versa, she motivated by my success. So it's like, that's how I kind of treat it. Like, oh, you make that? All right, let's get to work. You know, let's get to work, because I mean, I want to get there, but it is not a competition. It's more of a motivated thing to kind of make it better for the family as a whole. Right. You know what I mean, and that's how I think you should look at it. But you know, you got your own opinion, but that's just my opinion on it.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about, before you go to your third point. Let's talk about the accounts. So initially, when we first started, when we first got married, we talking about over 10 years ago, we had a joint account. Now we still have a joint account, so I don't want to say we have a joint account. The way and how we pay bills was different from what we're doing now. Let's just put it that way. And so this is why I'm saying you have to do what works best for your household. So initially, all of our money was going into the one account. I'm laughing because it just brings back memories of, like, you know, when we first lived in an apartment. Now, when we first got married, our household structure it was just Jameer. Remember that. And we just had Jameer. He was 7, and all of our money was going into one account. And then as time went on, we realized this just ain't work. We was having some issues. We were really having some issues.
And I think some of the issues with that is that, you know, me, when I structure a budget or things of that nature, I take it, you know, as far as the structure of it, from every penny. I take every penny. I calculate every penny spent. You know what I mean? So in Nicole aspect,
well, at that first point, no, hold on, wait a minute.
Agree or
we
not?
Talking about young Jason at 27. You wasn't calculating every single penny.
But at that time, I wasn't doing the bills. I think you was doing the bills.
Jason, no. I'm talking about when we first got married.
Yeah, I think we came together.
We was trying to figure it out together.
Yeah, we trying to figure it out, but we came together and you started.
What was I doing? You trying to
okay. So when we first started, nobody wasn't doing the bills. Actually.
Yeah, we was just
it was
just trying to figure it out.
It was a mosh podge, and
catch up because he was behind and stuff.
You know, I was already behind coming in, and you know, we were just paying stuff as it come. And what she paid stuff, I pay stuff. So that kind of wasn't actually the issue was it wasn't organized. That
Right.
that
We
whole
weren't organized.
that whole
No.
system was not organized,
Right.
and we didn't communicate enough to figure it out. At that time,
Because I think we literally took it as you are married now. Y'all got to have your money together,
Right.
like because that's what is like the concept behind marriage and union and partnership.
Yeah,
bringing everything together. So it's like we just dumped everything in one account.
I think my mindset at least was still on like, this mine, I'm gonna try to figure out mine, and then she could try to figure out hers. And even though I had some debt going in, I said forget that debt. What I mean? Just let that pile up. I don't care about that. But until we start to communicate about it, I think she really took the initiative, and I kind of jumped on board and said, all right.
Right.
We gotta figure this out because
Yes.
this is not life. This can't be life.
Right. It wasn't working.
What's up, people? I just wanted to hop on here and let y'all know about the classic apparel brand called Class, a brand that gives new meaning to the word class. Class stands for confidence, legendary, ambitious, stylish, and success. Check out the website at class1895.com. Follow, like, and share on all social platforms on class1895.com. For immediate discounts, become a classmate. Get to the site and enter your address to stay updated on all new apparel for men, women, and kids. For all things class as well. You know the motto, if you have class, you got it made. Get class so you can to the world, you got class. Peace. So yeah, it wasn't working for us, and then maybe a year or two into the marriage, we kind of started to figure something out, and then somebody, I think you at the time, became the coach and took the lead on doing the bills, per se,
right?
Paying all the bills per se, and kind of handling the finances at that time.
Because the other thing was we were getting ready to buy the house. We wanted to buy a house, and I moved from my apartment to Jason's apartment, and we, of course, it was only like a 1 or 2 bedroom. Well, actually a 1 bedroom, and we had Jameer. Yeah. So we basically had to figure out what we needed to do to move. And so it was just like a conversation, like, all right, we got to get out of here. We on the figure it. We got to get smarter and wiser. Right. And I think at that point, that was the start of trying to do better. And that was the start at that time. To get it on track. But I felt like at that time, we both had our own individual issues coming into the marriage, and not even issues, just debt and how we would go about things, how we go about spending. Right. So you got to have the conversation. It starts with a conversation and communication, because if not, it's just not going to go well. So we thank God we're not there anymore. Yeah, we eventually got out of that point, maybe 3 or 4 years within in the marriage, and got a house, and then we started communicating and getting better. But that goes into my third point. My third point is basically plan. I mean, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So and I, of course, a lot of people may heard that quote, but as couples, you should also set goals. Set goals within your budget, or things that you're doing financially. You should set goals. So whatever the goal may be, set different goals for spending goals, lifestyle goals, so you can kind of meet as a couple, meet those goals, and then write it down. If there's certain things that you want to accomplish, say if you saving for a house. You got to write those things down and put it in a spreadsheet or notes or anything, so you can kind of meet, you can plan and meet those goals. So that's the thing that's important when you plan. You got to set goals or even dreams and aspirations that you have within the couple, because it may change. Because when we first got married, of course, we didn't have a business. Now I got a business. So it's different things that comes along. So it may comes along as you go throughout your relationship, that you get more money, you get more responsibilities with different things. So that changed. So you got to write those things down and kind of make it plain. But also, to your point, you had mentioned something I was going to tag in. There's no like timeline as to how soon you need to do anything. So the goal may not be for most couples to buy a home after the first year after they get married, or start a family, or, people feel like as soon as you get married, oh, when y'all going to have a baby, or if you don't have children, or when you have to do what works best for you. And if you're not in a financial situation to do that, you don't have to do anything to try to keep up with the Joneses. And I think that's what a lot of people do. They try to live up to others' expectations of how marriage is supposed to be, or where you should really be in a relationship, or whatever the case may be. And they lose sight of the fact that they may not be able to afford that. Like, right. You may not be able to afford a mortgage right now. Maybe that $600 monthly rent is what's good for now. Mm-hmm. And then when you're in a better position, you can set those expectations and really, move on to the next thing. But don't feel pressured to make these type of decisions if you cannot afford to do it right now. Right. Or when you first, get married. It's okay. And I feel like I don't know if it's true, but I think that most couples, when they first get married, they're still learning each other, and it is like an adjustment period. Mm-hmm. Because if you guys weren't living together prior to getting married, or if you just had two different sets of expectations, well, first of all, the conversation should happen before you get married so that you both can make sure you're on the same page. Mm-hmm. However, if you go into it and it's just not, you're just not ready to make certain decisions, I think that you should wait until you are, and not
that's why this point is just playing, because everybody's situation is different. Right. We came into our marriage with already having a son, and then shortly after we had our girls. Mm-hmm. So our situation, of course, changed financially. When you have kids, that's more money. Kids need to eat more food, need more clothes in the back. Mm-hmm. So it's more expensive. So in that situation, we had to probably sit down and recalculate things, for, different things. And when you set in the budget, you got savings.
To your point, calculating every single penny.
Right. And then, that's, I think within our marriage, personally, we, I kind of, as she was taking over the bills, I kind of started getting more educated on finances, and started understanding more about the processes and what to do. Right. And we had a conversation, and then I took over.
I relinquished.
I took over.
I relinquished it. Well, I relinquished control, but I was like, kind of stubborn at first, because Jason was just like, well, I think that I should, let me just take, and I'm just like, okay. And to be honest, it was a weight off of my shoulder, because I was like, you know what? I don't have to feel control over it's not an issue for me. So
now I didn't feel control. It was just, just something that I felt like it was more so a passion of mine that I thought I could make, elevate us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, because to be honest, I don't think I was making all the right decisions in terms of how things should be paid, or paying it like I should. And, you just, like I said, the older you get, if you know better, you do better. Yeah. And so I say that to say that I'm not perfect, and I don't portray myself to be perfect, but it really can, I'm telling you, finances can really impact a relationship. And I realized how resilient our marriage was when I got laid off, because we had a couple things that happened throughout the course of being together. And when I got laid off, I felt like I was able to get more, although I had like less income, because I got a car. Remember, I got laid off. I got that was my second car, I think. We were able to do a few things. Mm-hmm. However, I don't feel like I still was making all the right choices. And I think I may have been like just stupid. Like, okay, well, I ain't worrying about that. That's not important. I'm gonna focus on this. This is what really need to be. But all bills matter. As they say, everything matters, because that impacts your credit when you don't pay things on time. Not necessarily the electric or the gas or the water, but when you don't pay certain credit cards on time, or when you don't, yes, it's an unsecured debt that does not really, They can't come repossess your credit card, but they can come repossess your car if you don't pay that on time.
Yeah.
So there are some things that, you know, impact your credit score. And like I said, as I got older, I started to become more wiser because I don't want my children to fall into the same traps that we fell into growing up.
Right.
Not like learning about financial literacy. And if we know better, we can teach our children how to be stewards of our money, because God gives us money. He expects us to be good stewards of the things that he gives us. And he can't give us more if we can't do what we should do with what we have.
Right.
So sneaking those bags in the house and shopping does not help the situation.
Right. So if you know better, you do better. And you know, obviously, you know, back in the day, we didn't, as children ourselves, we didn't have the guidance, you know, as financially, because our parents didn't kind of know these type of things. But we getting smarter so we can kind of pass it down to our kids. But that's why it's so important to kind of plan it out. And then when I kind of took over the bills, you know, as she said, I was tracking every penny.
Every penny.
You know,
he like, well, you didn't include that you was getting your hair done. I'm like, what the heck?
I was tracking every penny.
Like,
I mean,
well, you didn't include.
matter.
If you getting your nails done, you need to put that down on a spreadsheet. I'll be like, oh my gosh, Jason. Okay.
I tracked everything, you know, and I still do to this day, kind of, you know, tracking everything and making sure, you know, what's coming out and what's going in, you know.
So the joint account we have, because we, like I said early on in the podcast, we do have a joint account. That money that we have as a joint account, the money goes there that we have to pay the bills, the primary bill, the mortgage. Like like I said, initially all of our money was going into one account, and then we had to kind of pull back on that. And then it was like, all right, well, what do we need? What portion of my check or what portion of your check needs to go into the account? What portion do we need to save? Like, we need to have a savings,
right?
And we also need to have an account where we're paying the bills. And then miscellaneous things like, yes, I want to get my nails done. Yes, I'm going to get my hair done. Yes, I might need to purchase something for myself. Now, I was going to say, you had put that budget, you had some kind of spreadsheet that you were using to help budget the money.
Right.
And the point that I wanted to make, and I kind of feel like I'm all over the place right now, is writing the vision and making it plain, because you have to figure out,
write it down,
what all are you paying, like what all responsibilities you have and what all responsibilities do I have, because you might be expecting me to give more, but maybe you don't know, well, I got this credit card over here and I'm paying $60 a month on it, but if I fail to leave that out, that impacts the budget. That impacts the common household. Or if I'm getting credit cards and you don't know anything about them.
Right. And this may be tough for a lot of couples. This may look
like, all right,
like, you got to lay out all the finance that you spend, because that problem that she's kind of that she's trying to hold back from me, it could come up, it could creep up. You're like, what the heck? I thought you paid that, but it could become an issue for your finances.
Or the student loan that you ain't paid, not you, but the student. I know of people who have not paid a student loan, and then their spouse, they're expecting a return, and then they don't get that return because they were behind on their student loans. It's like, oh, well, they snatched our whole refund. Especially if you're filing your taxes together, that's a conversation I need to tell Jason, like, hey, I am like delinquent on my student loans.
You know, the government, you know, for student loans, I mean, I don't know, it might get better as we go along, but they can garnish your wages. They can garnish your wages if you don't start paying your student loans, you know, in a certain amount of time. They can start garnishing your wages. So that could be an issue if you don't, you know, reveal that to your spouse. It's like, look, I got these student loans.
But even the garnishing, but even if you going to get a tax return and you owe your student loans, you're delinquent, it's after a certain amount of days, they will take your entire refund. Yeah. And especially if I'm filing with you and you don't know that, you know, it's different. It's not really different. Not different. Even if you filing separately, it's still impacting the household.
Well, yeah, because if you're getting a certain amount of income and then you got, you got them going in there garnishing your way, taking, you know, a portion out for your, you know, student loans, but you didn't say nothing, then you're not getting the income that you think you should have. So that could be an issue, you know, when you're trying to plan. So you got to make sure you just get it all out,
Mm-hmm.
get it all out, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And don't be afraid to kind of get that out. But like I said from the beginning, y'all a team. So don't be saying, this your money, this my money, all that type of stuff. It's a team effort. So just go for it like that.
And if you have a
Alright.
certain lifestyle that you're trying to
Right.
live,
And that's
you
important.
know, it's important to really be on the same page, because if you're
Right.
not, one person is just the spender and they're careless with the money and the
Right.
bills. They don't care about paying the bills on time. It's going to impact you, period. It's going to impact your relationship, period.
Right. And in our relationship, since we a family of 5, that's also, you got to talk about those things because the kids need clothes, the kids need, eat and things of that nature. So if you just you and your spouse, it could be a little different situation. It may be a little bit more income coming in, but you got kids. You got to have more conversation about certain things. You got to set some money aside for them. Even with school, they got, school expenses, things of that nature. So, I know early on in our relationship, we had Jameer. So it was like, oh, I got to pay for school. I got to do this. I got to do it. So we was kind of trying to iron things out, like, early on, but after a while, you kind of get like, we won. So, and then, all the kids we have become one too. So they're part of us. So it's like, you gotta communicate that. You gotta get your education on that, and you gotta plan for that. So my last point, is another basic point that I want everybody just to catch. And this goes with this life period, and it's simple. Just be consistent. Consistency. So, a lot of times you start something, you start, have a nice budget and everything, and then you get lax. You start relaxing, and then you may not be as, on point with it as you used to, and that can cause issues within your finances to fall. Like, the bill coming in every month, and then some months you probably, I'm not gonna, like she said, I think she said early, it's like, I forget that, I forget that. You can't do that. You got to be consistently paying the things on time. Just like you consistently go to work, and do your job to get your income, you need to consistently pay the bills or the debt that you have, so you can kind of get better with that. Because eventually, if you can be consistent, some of the debt that you have may be gone, and then that opens up more income for you to have within the household. So being consistent is an important piece within this whole process, because if you're not, you can fail. Within the process.
Yeah, and it's about helping one another. Like Jason said, being consistent. If you fall, being consistent and helping one another probably are 2 different things. But so consistently paying the bills on time helps. Well, when you are consistent in how you go about your finances and paying on time, that does impact your credit score. And so it does help to improve your overall financial picture.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that. Now, I was talking about earlier when I talked about the shopping and hiding bags and all that kind of stuff. I think all of us have been guilty of that. Jason and myself, men do it too. Y'all don't always tell us everything that y'all ordering and buying until it come, and then you wearing it, and I'm just like, oh, you bought that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But the difference is, like, since I control the bills, I do deduct the stuff that I get. So.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. I do deduct the stuff that I get. So if I don't know what you may get, then I just don't know. But I do deduct things that I buy. I still do, to the penny. I deduct every single thing I get. I could be going to Wawa to pick up, something. Is deduct food. It's funny, but I deduct everything.
Gosh.
You could go. My spreadsheet is intense. Every single thing I deduct.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I don't always deduct when I'm going to spend and buy something. I'm talking about like a personal purchase. If I'm going to buy myself a pair of earrings, or if I'm going to buy myself a pair of shoes, I'm just saying in general, those miscellaneous items, I'm not necessarily deducting that. I think my focus more so be on like the household bills. And if
Yeah.
if I feel like if that's in a good place, then I'm not going to be shopping and doing different things, and we behind in the mortgage, 90, 120 like those days are long gone.
Yeah.
Like I said, being so much wiser, because there was a time where, I had to reach out to my family, or I had to ask, a loved one to help us to do whatever it is that we need to do, because we were really in a place where we don't ever want to be again. And
Yeah.
it's a blessing that we have people that we could depend on during that time. So we don't want to sit up here and act like, oh, it's been rosy and we never had any issues financially.
Yeah.
We
Well, I was just saying,
really strive to get where we are today.
yeah,
Trust me.
everybody gonna have some setbacks.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how you bounce back from those setbacks, and you just got to be resilient enough to be able to bounce back. And like I said, be consistent enough to stick with it, so you can continue to move your finances in the right direction, and it won't lead to the statistics of getting
We both were
divorced.
stumbling on. But the thing is, that's why I said that's how I knew the resilience of our marriage, like how strong our marriage, the strong foundation, because we still had each other's back no matter what type of tough time we went through or have gone through or may go through in the future, because you don't really know what's ahead of you. The fact that we were able to bounce back, and it's just like, all right, I'm gonna support you. Like, I know you don't have enough, you don't have a lot right now, and I know you used to making what you making, but that's not happening right now. But we gonna get through this together.
Right.
Whether it's me or whether it's you, we still gonna get through this together, and nothing is going to come in between us and break up a bond that I know that God has ordained. And God has ordained our union, and we have gone through certain things, and that just shows the strength behind our relationship, the strength to endure and go through the obstacles together, because we're in this together, and if Jason is telling me, well, I got this issue, or I have that issue, it's just like, okay, well, I might have some extra money. Now, I know I'm jumping over, because that's what I do sometimes. The saving part. So sometimes I save for a purpose. Like, there's a saving, and then there's saving for a purpose. And so there may be specific things that I may want to do, or maybe there's a credit card that I may want to really pay down. So I will pay a couple extra $100. I'll put a couple $100 up and be like, okay, this is where I'm gonna just take the money and just pay this one card. Or there may be something materialistic that I may want, a material item that I may want. So I try to save to get that specific thing. But there have been times where there have been a dagger thrown into my saving for a purpose, and I need to use that money for something else. Because perhaps it could be that something happened in the house, and that's going to cost us an extra $400. And it's like, oh, well, damn.
Yeah.
So now I got to take, the money that I'm saving for this purpose, or whatever the case may be, and put that on, because that's more important.
Right. I mean, and it's that's why we going through these different steps, so you can kind of follow and follow them and try to take heed about some of these things, so you can kind of incorporate into your lifestyle. But savings is always important. You always want to save for a rainy day, because when you have a household, we can attest, there's always something that happens in the house. So
yes,
there's always going to be something. So you always want to have that money in the stash where you can pull and say, all right, well, we have it, so let's get it done. But just to kind of wrap things up, I just wanted to reiterate the things I talked about. The first step, and we kind of talked about throughout the podcast, is stick together. Y'all in this together. Y'all is one. So you want to stick together. That's number one. You want to educate yourself. Get information on different type of budgets, different type of plans that may fit you. So that's important within your within your finances. You always want to plan plan, or you're going to fail if you don't plan. So just remember, you want to plan, your budget, sit down with your spouse, communicate things that you want to do as far as savings, goals, and different things of that nature. You want to do that and plan, and also be consistent. If you're in the gym, you want to be consistently working out so you can get fit and get better. So that's the same thing with finances. You want to consistently work on your finances with your spouse so it can get better, and I can attest to us, as we started off early, it was kind of chaos. And then as we communicated and talked about it and planned about it and been consistent with it, it's been a lot better. So,
we've been doing better in terms of, I think initially we start off in the disagreement in terms of some things. Like, okay, when we talk about selling a house or when we talk about different things, it's like, all right, we may not be on the same page, but at some point we get there. Right. It's just like, okay, well, we need to compromise, and goes back to compromising. Our mindsets might be different, and that's another thing. There's a difference in personalities, so my mindset may not be your mindset, but that's okay. That's okay, because you make me better. It's like one is going to balance out the other, and give me a chance to get there. Show me what I need to do to get there to where you at, and maybe I can see the bigger picture. Right. But like I said, Jason is more of a risk taker. I'm more of a person that plans and strategic about different things. So the two of you, or the two of us, we're balancing each other out, because his highs or my lows are his highs and my highs are his lows. So it's like it balanced the things out, and it helps us to become better at getting where we need to be. And that's the same vision, same plan, same expectation.
And she said something important is about the mindset. Sometimes you got to get your mindset geared towards making things better, maybe having just a positive mindset. And I have written something down about a wealthy person's mindset. And I just wanted to, lay out, the 3 points of a wealthy man's mindset. But the first one was they have financial plan. Simply, they have a financial plan. Number 2, they find passive income opportunities. So when you talk about passive income, that's other ways to get income rather than your regular 9-to-5 job, or if you just got a business just bringing in one income. You got to find other ways to get income other than just working. So just because you go to your 9-to-5, you can come home and do your other job, do your other business and get more money. So you got to find a passive opportunity to get more income within the household. Maybe some people, getting enough money at their 9-to-5, but it would only benefit your household if you're pulling in money from different avenues. So that's another mindset that wealthy people have. Right. And the last one is they invest with an open mind. So you got to have an open mind. A lot of people, they hear certain investment strategies and different things to do as far as investments, and they kind of shut it down within their mind thinking, I've been doing what I've been doing all these years and I'm okay. But if you have an open mindset and trying different things within investment, it could be the opportunity that you've been looking for and can lead you into, that wealthy, state that you're looking for as well. Like we looking to be wealthy. So when you become wealthy, that's generational. That's generational. That can lead to our kids. And I'm not looking to just satisfy myself in the now. I'm looking to have a better life for my kids. And that's the mindset that wealthy people have. And I'm trying to have that same type of mindset. So it's all about, like I talked about the points, educating yourself and getting that understanding so you can, kind of get your finances in order and, lead into that wealthy mindset.
Right. And now's the time where everyone is talking about like the stimulus checks and income tax time and different things, the money that is coming into your households, and everybody's like, oh, invest. Well, that may not be realistically what everybody can do, because some people may really be struggling and they may need to get up to date. I say get up to date. If you behind in your mortgage, pay your mortgage. You got to have a roof over your head. That's the first thing you should always pay. And like I said, you live and you learn and you do better when you know better. And so you can flip that money that you're getting, but it may not be the case for everybody. And so you can educate yourself, figure out ways in which do work for you, and then you make the best decisions as to what you can do and what works for you. You don't have to try to keep up with the Joneses or an Instagram post or social media. because
Right.
that makes you feel like you got to pretty much go out and do everything. Sometimes some people do feel that way. They're trying to keep up with the lifestyle that they really cannot afford. And so
I mean, we appreciate Moneybag Joe for give us that stimmy, but still you got to use that money in a way to kind of help your household, invest it if that's the case, if you could do that. Pay the bills that necessary, necessary bills,
or pay our tithes. That's another thing. That's a whole nother.
That's
that I failed to mention. It is important to do that.
Pay
and
your tithes. Yeah,
that's something that I gotta get better at too. Not just paying it when I'm paying it, but paying it consistently over time. You just gotta be honest. Like it's just good to be honest. That's why we are who we are, because I don't want to live a life. And like, I want people to know the realness behind us. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and try to act like, oh, we're just so great. No, like y'all see, I be giving Jason the side eye. This is what I do all the time. Yeah. This is my bae, but I got to give him the side eye sometimes. But he makes me better. But when it comes to finances, he makes me better, and that's what I love about him, because it's like we can't be thinking like we normally do, like we typically do. We got to think different. We got to think bigger. We got to think long term, and so I'm just grateful to have this opportunity and to have him in my life.
Thank you all for listening. We're gonna continue, like I say all the time, to get these episodes out to you. Continue to like, share, also subscribe to the YouTube, and also these be airing on Spotify, Apple, and the other platforms that you listen to podcasts on. Just continue to lock in with us, because we're gonna continue to get it to you.
All right, now I'm Nicole,
and I'm Jason,
and we out.
Deuces.
Love y'all.
Got you screaming through the phone. I would rather